Cool, man. Well, we're rolling.
Cool.
Riley, thanks for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks.
Can you tell me about yourself and Rivers Landscaping and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, so I own Rivers Landscaping. I was born and raised about an hour away in Anaconda. So um, been a Montana boy my whole life, but came over here for school in 2014. I thought I wanted to be an engineer. Realized I did not like that at all and very quickly switched to business. While I was at MSU, though, I started my first company called Rivers Lawn Care and Snow Removal. Had an old horse trailer that I bought a parking pass for that I kept at the F lot on Lincoln and 19th. So, was doing that lawn care and snow removal while I was in school, and liked it, but kind of stumbled into some other work. Ended up working at the Bozeman Hot Springs on the construction of the new pools out there. It's about 10 years ago plus now. Realized I really liked construction, and then that led to working for another landscaper. And in 2018, officially launched Rivers Landscaping, and we do commercial and residential landscape construction. That's the major bulk of our business. In 2024, we started the commercial maintenance division, and that's been growing very steadily. David Castro is our account manager there, and he runs that division. Does a great job. And we really, on the commercial side, the maintenance side, we decided that we wanted to start a maintenance division, primarily because we didn't like how our landscapes that we put so much time and effort into were being cared for. And we knew that we could provide a better service for the landscapes that we installed and really just take care of it all. We call it our white glove service. We take care of all of their property. I mean, even now what we're doing on apartment complexes to help them with their labor issues is we're taking care of changing out their dog waste bins and servicing those and just making sure that anything on the outside we're handling. If they need some pressure washing done or that, we don't necessarily do all of these things in house, but we're just taking care of it. We're going to make sure that we'll get a subcontractor in there and just try to make it easier for our clients. And so that's what we're doing on the maintenance side. On the construction side, our goal is just to be easy to work with and communicate well. We've got a project management team. It's not just me. Great team. We run 6 crews, and really, really proud of the team that we have. We've all kind of built it up. Everyone that's with us has been with us for years at this point. So we've all figured it out together and built something pretty cool at Rivers Landscape.
Very cool. So when you were at MSU, you were keeping mowers essentially in the horse trailer?
Yeah. So it was a horse trailer from 1965 that my grandfather gave me, and I painted it bobcat colors. Let's see if I can find a picture. Painted it bobcat colors. I had a blue truck. So all my logo and my branding was all bobcat colors. And yeah, I kept my lawnmower in there and then a 4-wheeler that had a plow on it. And I would drive that 4-wheeler around town, plowing snow as a freshman in college. And yeah, just kept that on the F lot on Lincoln. And
if you find the picture, send it to me and I'll either put it in the video or put it in the blog post or something.
Yeah, absolutely. With the horse trailer, my grandfather gave that to me, and I worked on it. I'm getting ready to leave to Bozeman, and he's like, I should go get some new tires because I don't think I've ever put tires on it. And the tires were from 1965.
That's wild.
Yeah.
He's just never left the farm or the ranch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So that's long. I wanted to ask you, I feel like the term landscaping is so wide.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people say I have a landscaping company and they mow lawns, and some people say I have a landscaping company and they are installing patios and walkways.
Yeah.
How do you define either, hardscape, landscape, and then the scope of everything you guys do? Hi, folks. Quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule Media is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, or passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, post it in your story. That one simple action helps these businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this show keep going. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. Now back to the show.
Started out, we would always say that we do landscape construction because up until 2024, first 6 years of business, we had only done landscape construction and pretty much had only done new construction. So landscape construction, I consider that a builder builds a house and we take it from the dirt. Once they get the concrete and the house done, we take it from the dirt, get the irrigation installed, beds around the property, plant all their plants and get everything completed. So that's landscape construction. We do that a lot. Like I say, that's the bulk of our business in residential and commercial. And then, the other half of that, the mowing lawns, the maintenance side, I will say of what we do on the maintenance side, though, because I wanted to do something with different, we wanted to provide a better service. It really, mowing lawns is the easiest and the least amount of what we're doing on that side. I mean, we're taking care of their property, learning, showing our guys how to properly prune plants, recognize that they need pruned, not just, the term would be mow, blow, and go. Like, that's not what we do. Yes, we mow the lawn and make sure it looks perfect, but we're making sure the irrigation system is cared for. We're making sure that the plants are cared for, pick up some trash, really just service the property and take care of the outside of the property for our clients.
Very cool. So are you guys doing sprinkler blowouts and all that stuff?
Yeah, so we actually partner with Jason and Heather Wood at Stay Green Irrigation. We did do our irrigation on our own for a while, and it works out 10 times better to have Jason and Heather do it. They've been doing this for 25 years. And Will, I'll give him a shout out. Um, and we actually, Stay Green is partnered with us in our building. And so now we're right next to each other. So we use our most valued trade partner. We do all of the projects that we do with them. When it comes time to the irrigation maintenance, again, like we're not doing that in-house. We're working directly with the Stay Green crew to do that. For our clients, it's pretty much like we're doing it in-house because we communicate with them and we just know that we have the experts at Stay Green doing it. So they're doing all the blowouts, scheduling, coordinating directly with us. They don't need to go and talk to the client. Most of the time, working directly with us. We do that because it works way better for us. And we know that our clients are getting serviced properly by a contractor who's been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. So they don't have to call, 3 different people to get it done. You guys are their point of contact, but
we're their point of contact and we're handling it. And obviously having a good partner like Jason makes it work really well. But for our client, we don't hear from our clients.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say, but in the service industry, like they don't have to call us and say, "Oh, when are we getting this mowed or when are we getting that?" Very rarely do they actually need to talk to us. Usually they're just paying their bill because their landscape is just taken care of. David does a great job. He gets on site every day, or gets on site every week, goes through the property, see if anything needs to get pruned, any kind of care, anything that's not in the contract, he'll just propose that to the client. But we're really trying to be proactive and just provide a level of service that for a long time was pretty sparse in Bozeman.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's more of a long-term relationship with these clients. You're not just doing this install and then hope it works out for you. See ya.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing relationship. Let's make sure we did this right from the start, and then we're going to make sure things continue to run properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then, in the commercial construction world, landscaping is anywhere from 10 to 15% of the overall build cost. We're talking multiple six figures for some of these commercial landscapes. It's a huge investment, and you've got your general building maintenance that everyone kind of knows about, but a lot of people forget to take care of the landscaping properly. And you just invested, $250,000 into your landscaping, or in some cases $1 million in your landscaping. You need to have a service provider that knows what they're doing and can take care of it. We feel that we're best suited to do that as soon as we're done with the construction, because we have the plans, we know what was planted, we know when it was planted. One of the things that we do, we always included a 1-year warranty on our installs, but if we're going to do the maintenance for a year, we'll bump that warranty up for 2 years, which makes perfect sense. It's a huge value add to the client, but we're also the ones that are responsible for it. And so, knowing that you need to take care of the landscaping, it's something I wish more people kind of understood. And I think people are. When you spend that much money, yeah, you really need to be spending, a certain percentage of your budget every year taking care of your property, or it's not going to look good. Landscaping's living, breathing, and growing. It needs to be cared for.
Yeah, those trees and plants that expense can accumulate really fast. And if you're, planting these $8,000 or $10,000 trees, and then they're not getting irrigated.
Yeah,
that's it's a huge loss pretty quick.
Yeah,
and as I'm sure as you're saying, all the pruning and everything too. If you don't know what it is and why you're doing it, it's a lot of money just being wasted. Hey folks, Tim here with Mountain Mule. I've got a quick announcement I wanted to tie in here. I'm excited. This spring 2026, we're officially going to start doing park tours through Yellowstone Park. These will be day tours starting and ending in Bozeman with custom pickup and drop-off locations along the way. We're building out the program now, so there'll be lots of updates coming through, but please keep us in mind if you've used us for transportation in the past. We plan on delivering the same quality of service, and we're excited to be able to expand what we're doing to have a busier summer for the teams and be able to offer more options.
In the first several years of a new landscaping, that landscaping is so mature that it takes a lot of, tender loving care to get it up. Make sure that, past year 5, where it's really going to be a lot more self-sufficient, past year 5, it needs a lot less water. So you need to manage that appropriately. And yeah, it's a huge investment. And so we're just trying to help our clients protect that investment.
Very cool. I want to ask you about the growth from when you were in the horse trailer and campus parking lot to now. How big is your internal team right now?
Yeah. So full staff in the summer this year will be at 33 employees.
Wow.
Started out, I called up my best friend Aiden, back in 2018, and I just said, "Hey, I'm gonna, start a landscape company. I think I can get this thing figured out. At a minimum, I'll make sure we can make rent." He said, "Okay." Came to Bozeman. By that first summer, we already had 4 guys on staff, and have just continually, every year we've added 1 crew. Now we're kind of adding multiple crews at a time, but every year we've just added another crew. We know how much revenue a crew can produce, what it costs to get a crew set up. What's always interesting, and we were just talking about this with our leadership team yesterday, is right now getting the work done is the easiest thing. Producing the work it's just second nature to us at this point. If we don't know how to do something, it's a combination of combining other things that we've done to figure out how we're going to go and do this next task. What we're focusing heavily on for the last several years, and this year especially, is growing that internal management leadership team, getting the systems and the processes in place. And it's a lot of work to do that, as I'm sure you know.
Oh, this is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
And now we actually have a sales staff. I have an estimator in sales, so it's not just me on the construction side. David manages the sales on the maintenance side, and Travis came on to help with estimating and sales on the construction side. And there's a process that needs to be built out for that. We call it Rileyisms. We're trying to get rid of Rileyisms.
That's funny.
I just know all these things and I keep them in my head, and then I'll be honest, I expect my crew to read my mind. And they can read my mind for the most part, but one of the big things when Travis came on is we wanted to get rid of those Rileyisms. I didn't start our maintenance division. That was a planned process that we went through with David. David he was on our team for about a year prior. He really wanted to do it. He's got a horticulture background from Texas Tech. And I said, great, go present me a business plan, find the mowers that you want to get. What kind of clients do we want to go for? I'll help you price some things out. But David has taken the maintenance division and really just made it his own. And we're looking forward. He's got a big goal this year. If he hits that goal, then he will need some management staff with him as well. Right now, it's just him and some really good crew leaders. But yeah, it's the building the systems and building that internal infrastructure. We've got a great infrastructure, but now, we want to scale from the size that we're at last year, which was our biggest year, to adding 2 million plus more in revenue this year. The sales aspect of it was one part, but the producing the work and how we build up that org chart and that management team is one of the biggest things that we're doing right now. And I think the best thing that we do as a company is we really try hard not to put it all on just one person or just silo everything into one person. Every year we're talking about taking off hats. So I took off a sales hat this year, handed that over to Travis. I guarantee you Travis is making estimates far better than I ever did. I could do them faster, but Travis is doing them at a much more complete rate. And same thing when I handed over production. I've been out of production for the most part for the last 2 years. It's Aiden and Dalton Gavin on the production team on construction. They're managing those projects at a better way than I was, much more systemized, getting rid of the Rileyisms.
Okay, so I want to break down the crew structure. So you said you add on crews at a time. What does this crew look like?
Yeah, so our construction crew is generally 3 people. So it'd be a crew leader. We call the next person up a second crew lead, and then a crew member. If that's a good crew leader, they can generally handle having 3 people, so 4 people total on their crew. For us, we know what works best. They get an F-250 with a super cab, long box, and a job trailer. Everything in the job trailer has a place. It's got shelving. everything that they could need. If they got to repair a little bit of irrigation, we're not going to call Jason's team out there to fix the sprinkler head we ran over. So they've got everything that they need set up, labeled in Spanish and English in our trailer because we're a bilingual company. And we make all 6 crews look exactly the same.
So sorry, go ahead.
Not every job is exactly the same, but we know that having that level of systemization, we have checklists for what's in every truck and trailer. And as long as they have everything that they need, we don't let them go to our suppliers like this. We have an inventory of things at the shop, or if there's large orders coming, that gets delivered right to the site.
Cool. After when we get done, I want you to check out our checklist, and I'd love to pick your brain
absolutely.
about how that goes. So you found this system, this trailer, this F-250. This works great. Let's rinse and repeat this. So, second crew, third crew, and that's just a rinse and repeat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was some trial and error to it. And every year, I mean, even this year, we're modifying it just a little bit because we're going to do some more residential work. But the same premise. It's like you have all the same truck. Now we have a mechanic in house. Too many trucks, and which is a great thing to have. But when Avery's doing oil changes, he just stocks 10 of the same thing in stock, and he knows how to fix all of these trucks. And for us, from a branding standpoint, I get people saying all the time, because every truck looks exactly the same, has the same exact branding. We have our green hoods. People say, "Oh, I see your trucks all over town," and they were saying that when we had 2 of those trucks around town. And so it looks the same, it's clean, but then it just takes a lot of the thinking out of it. We know that we're adding a crew this year. I know exactly what we're buying, what it looks like, what it costs, and I'm not sitting there wasting time thinking about it, trying to reinvent the wheel. We've already invented the wheel.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And right now I'm buying a second SUV of one of our newer ones. And I was talking with Craig, and he's our shop manager, ops manager. And I'm like, let's do the exact same thing. We love the motor, love the vehicle. And it's just, we'll, get that system, same interior, same exterior. Looks very great and professional from the outside, and makes a system internally just run that much smoother when there's not, different motors, different color, all that stuff. So it's just, that I can see why that makes complete sense.
Yeah. And then we try to carry that throughout the company. The maintenance team is obviously set up a little bit different. We use the box vans. Those work really well for us. But that's what works well for that crew, and it's set up efficiently so they don't have to haul a trailer. We're adding 2 maintenance teams this year. I know I'm buying 2 box trucks from Penske.
Okay. So are you doing the box trucks now instead of the truck and the trailer?
Yeah, for the maintenance division we are.
Okay.
And the reason being there is they don't have to haul a trailer.
Yeah.
So I actually had my friend Brian with Viking Design build this ramp setup for the back. But it's just a box truck, used from Penske. And they can load the mowers right in there. They grab all of the trimmers. Everything they need is inside that box truck. It looks great. It's a huge billboard. But then they can go and park in an apartment complex that generally doesn't have that good of parking for trailers, and just very efficiently get around town.
That's so nice when you don't have to have a trailer.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Back in my day, it's funny, growing up, I mowed our farm was across the street from a cemetery. And then I guess when I wasn't there on the farm anymore, I was still mowing the cemetery. I had an old F-350. It was a Bobcat 48-inch wide, and I could drive it right into the back of the F-350. I just loved it because I didn't need a trailer. So the simplicity of it is, I don't know, trailers are great when you need them, but if I can not have a trailer too, I'm much happier.
Yeah. I mean, so much, we like these box vans so much, and the not having a trailer aspect, that we're considering swapping up the construction trucks into box trucks.
Yeah.
The reason it's an F-250 short extended cab long box is because that's a pretty good middle ground plow truck. So we'll plow snow in the winter with those trucks. You can't plow snow with a box truck, or I wouldn't recommend it anyway. But we're plowing with equipment so much more that we might kind of transition to where we're not using the box truck or using the F-250s for construction and get them into a box truck setup.
Yeah. Are you guys doing a lot of snow removal?
But not this year.
That's what I was gonna ask you how it's been.
Yeah, it's been a weird winter. I've lived in Montana my entire life, and I think you ask anyone that's been in Montana for any period of time, this was weird. We plowed snow kind of yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And once in January, once in December, and once in November. This has been the lightest winter I've ever experienced, which was a major change of pace from last year. last year we learned that we needed to have more guys like on sidewalks. Like sidewalks were killing us last year, and it wasn't providing the greatest service for our clients. So we have, our sidewalk crews. Now we have 3 of them, and they're three guys apiece. This year the snow's been so light, the sidewalks could have been by 2-man crews, and so we geared up, we staffed up, we bought all new equipment for the sidewalk crews. Specifically, that was where we were struggling, and Murphy's Law said, "Great, you did all that work, so it's not going to snow." But
yeah, there's still time.
Yeah,
we might really we might pay for it in the
for sure
second half.
But we've kept busy. We moved into the new shop, and so being able to do the build out on that, and then we just said, okay, these guys are need something to do. They need to get paid. Like we bringing in the entire team to help us build these systems, kind of recreate a lot of what we're doing and as a company, and just have that input from the field staff directly on what do we need to do better? What do you guys need to do better on your staff? So these landscapers that are used to working with shovels, set them in the office quite a bit this winter to just help us build our systems out.
Yeah. Did they like that?
Yeah. I mean, they like the input, and we've got more to do.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually headed to MSU today and next week to start on some projects there already that they just happen to be ready for us. So that works out. But quasi doing some landscaping and hardscaping right now. Can't really do planting.
Yeah.
We're doing some patios, things like that.
Yeah, I found that too. You can get the best input on how to build your systems and operations from the people doing the work, within reason to an extent, but they usually have the much better insight and feedback than I would.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, like I've been out of the extreme day to day for several years at this point, and they're doing stuff that I was like, I didn't know we did it that way. That's really smart. That's fantastic. I think one of my sales pitches I always give to employees is like, we're a small company, but we're also a big company. We just have the small company mindset of we want to hear from everybody on staff, and we want to hear ways of making it better. I mean, every year and every month, really, we're improving things. And so I always tell our guys, whether they're a crew member, crew lead, second crew lead, management, whatever it may be, like, hey, your voice actually matters, and we will take the input from you. I want to hear about it, even if it's a bad idea. And I'm confident you can ask anyone on our team, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Very cool. Okay, so that's your construction crew and your maintenance team. What's the the level up of management look like, above that?
Sure. I mean, probably the easiest way to explain it would just be, so we've got our office manager, Paige. She's been with me since 2021, but we've been friends for a long time, and she just handles so much of the office management things that happen. A lot of the AP and AR, the financial side of it, working with the bookkeeper, making sure bills are getting paid and that we're not overpaying. A huge asset there. And then she does a lot of the HR things. She's wearing a lot of hats. And then, I'm the owner, CEO, whatever you want to call me. President, I guess, is my title. Beyond that, we have Aiden, who's been still with me since day one. He's our director of construction, and he has 2 project managers, Gavin and Dalton beneath him. And then Gavin and Dalton have an assistant project manager, Everett. Everett's been with us for several years as well, and they're running the construction side. So essentially, I sell the job, or I bid the job, and I'm handing it down to Aiden. Aiden's making sure his team through the various channels are getting it done. The PMs run the construction crews, the 6 crews that go out. On the maintenance division, currently it is just David in that leadership role. Like I say, we have some really good crew members, or crew leaders and crew members, that likely after he hits his goals this year, because he will, that will be promoting some operational help into management for that. And then Travis is on the now in the sales and estimating side. So our leadership team, we just had a big meeting yesterday. There's 8 of us, and we're the ones responsible for guiding the company.
Very cool. So did you graduate from MSU with a business degree?
I did, yeah. So I started my the landscaping business in 2017, 2018, kind of roundabout there. And I was still a sophomore, junior, 4 semesters to go in business school. When I had the business, it made business school far more relevant. Like, it was cool. Like, I loved my accounting class, because it would just, here's my P&L. I'm just going to use this as an example. Honestly enough, like the Excel classes that we took in college, I can build a pretty mean Excel sheet to this day. So yeah, graduated from MSU in 2019. I bid my first job for MSU while I was sitting in Jabs Hall, the American Indian Hall.
That's badass.
Yeah, I'm sure I was way too low on that project, but we got it done. We got it done on time. and built a great relationship with Swank Enterprises on that, as well as MSU. Um, and after the project, I told the project manager that I did that project while I was still on campus.
Nice.
But yeah, graduated with business management, and it's probably an entrepreneurship thing in there in the spring of 2019.
That's cool to hear because it seems like generally here people get a degree and they, you're so young, you have no idea what you're going to do, and the degree becomes so irrelevant to your occupation.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been, I could see that being very fun because personally, I would love to sit in some business classes now and then think about how I'm applying it to what I'm doing.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I failed accounting the first time, and the second time I took it, I had my business, and I was like, wait a minute, this makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a time where I think like I'm very glad that I got my degree. I'm a huge Bobcat fan and very proud alumni. And there's times that I'll now at the size that we're doing and how big this company's getting and where we want to go, where I do feel like I really am using my degree. There's things that click back. I don't think it's as tactical as like a nursing degree, right? You know that you're going to be in the nursing field and there's very specific things you're learning. Business is just way more broad. And so I think for a lot of business majors, it's kind of hard. And I've been there too, where I was struggling. Like, am I using my degree? Was it worth it? I land back on ultimately it was worth it. I think I'd be roughly in the same spot I am now, but I'm really interested how that's going to help me as we grow the company even further because we've got big goals for Rivers Landscaping.
That's what I wanted to ask you because you started in the horse trailer landscaping. Did you have this envision for what it is now in any sense of this?
No, I mean, when I started Rivers Lawn Care, again, I thought I wanted to be an engineer and I thought I wanted to design cars for Ford. That's what I thought I wanted. And I always kind of had a little bit of an entrepreneurial, spirit. I did this in high school. I had a snow removal route in high school. So I thought, with the horse trailer, it was like, I'm going to build up a route and be able to just sell a list to somebody when I graduate. Then I switched over to business when I called my dad that I was going to do that. He's like, yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I'm like, could have saved me like 2 semesters here, Dad, by, telling me I should have been in business, but he wanted me to figure that out on my own. Yeah, I don't think I ever really thought it was going to be this way. And so I took a construction job at the Bozeman Hot Springs. I got there when one of those new outside pools was partially dug, and I stayed on for the rest of that project. I learned so much, learned how to do concrete, learned how to run equipment, worked with a great group of guys, and really, really liked the construction side of things. But something like drew me back to landscaping. My dad's an accountant. My mom's a nurse. I didn't come from my grandparents were ranchers rather. So I didn't really come from like a landscaping or construction background, but I loved being on the ranch. And I don't know that I was actually doing any work, but felt like I was working out there. So I've always liked the kind of the blue collar aspect side of things. When I left the hot springs, I worked for another landscaping company here in town. And quickly that owner could quickly see that I was very business minded. And ultimately he was not surprised when I decided to start Rivers Landscaping. So I kind of fell back in love with landscaping. I said, yeah, I like the entrepreneurial side of things. And I learned a lot from him. And then when I started Rivers in 2018, I don't know that I thought it would be what it is today or where I know we're going to go in the next several years here. But I'd say probably about like 2021, 2022, there was a tipping point where I was learning how to build a management team. I was in these peer groups of other landscapers from across the country. And that really showed me how a good landscaping company can run, get a behind the scenes look. And I like that. And that's a lot of what I've brought back to Rivers and everything that we're learning now and doing now. It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah, I think about that for myself when I started this company and I don't know about you, but I kind of assumed I would just be the guy doing operations.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll just be me, but then, very quickly you realize you need some help. And then it's a night and day difference from what I do now to a day-to-day basis. And I'm very, pretty far removed from most operations. And it was not something I envisioned then. And it's interesting to see it evolve and it kind of comes to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of the same with us. Like what all of our managers are doing and our crew's doing. Like sometimes I'm learning things that they're doing that I feel a little embarrassed. I should have known that we were doing these really cool things and had these systems in place. I'm definitely not like totally removed from operations, but I mean, I could tell, like I could leave for a period of time and the company wouldn't skip a beat. We have a really really good team that I'm just super proud of, and they amaze me every day. One of the more fun things is being able to watch them grow and enabling them to grow. Our why we want to be a bigger company, why we want to grow is for our staff, and create opportunities in the landscaping world that not a lot of people get into it thinking there's a career, and now we're showing them there's a career where they can make good money. We do fully paid healthcare. That was one of the initiatives we rolled out last year because we were successful as a company, and that's us giving back to our crew. Um, and so every year there's a growth. We know what we want to do, we know what we want to add, and we get everyone bought in behind it because like Everett's a great example. Everett started as a crew member for us, quickly moved up to a crew leader, and now he's moved up into the management within 3, maybe 4 years. And just watching what Everett specifically has been working on this winter, like I'm like, dude, I did not know that you thought about these things or these systems, and I didn't know that you were this is what you wanted to do. And so it's really cool seeing all of them take off with it. And there's no way. I mean, we would be a 2-man crew or excuse me, a 2-crew company at most if it was just me or if it was just Aiden. So now we keep taking off all these hats, and every time somebody else puts on one of those hats, it's almost mind blowing how much better we get every year.
Do you equate a lot of that to these peer groups that you're a part of and sort of seeing the way that they were able to, you know, a lot of it, at least for me, is remove myself from, trying to just learning to delegate better and to
Yeah.
let go of control and let other people do things that they're actually much more suited for than I am. Is
Mm-hmm.
is that what these guys taught you a lot of in these?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, the way that these peer groups worked is you get put in groups of other size companies or similar size companies. So when I joined that group in 2021, we were doing right about $1 million a year, and so I get put in groups, group of 12 guys, all doing about $1 million plus, all across the country. And then every quarter we would travel to one of their facilities and go through this program that they put together. But we would get to see their shop, interview their management team, and then we would all kind of dive into like what we saw, the good, the bad, the ugly. And so that showed me, we're not in competing markets at that point. So that showed me I got to a good look behind the curtain. Um, so yeah, being able to have like the term leadership team, I didn't learn that from college. That came from working in these peer groups. And I know a lot of companies adopt that, but um, really just the delegation of it. The first thing they tell you in the peer group is you will have to travel a lot every quarter. That's a lot. When you're running a business, they always have a meeting or, 2 meetings in the summer, our busiest time of the year. Like just the simple fact of forcing you to not be in town and to stay focused on what you're learning there forces your team to figure it out. And that was good for them. That was really good for us. So that really taught me that delegation. And I think it was actually Jason told me that I'm really good at delegating because I probably could get better at it. But if it's not my job, I try, push it down to whose job it should be. And likewise, and that's better for them too. So they know what their job is. Like, it's not my job to get all of our trucks registered and insured. Paige does that. And she does it 10 times better than I could. It's not my job to mobilize to the job sites or even now, the billing side of all our projects. That's being handed off to Aiden, and Aiden and his team is handling that, doing it way more complete and accurately than I was trying to wear all the hats.
Yeah, it's a skill and an art to just
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something you started because you're
Mhm.
used to, answering to everything.
Yeah. That and then like training the clients to understand that um it's okay that you don't have to ask me for this anymore. I trust my team and I would like you to talk to my team directly about it. Now, if my team doesn't get you the answer you need, I'm going to make sure they do. You can call me. But just getting our clients to understand that, hey, I want you to talk to Aiden about this because I guarantee you he will get the answer for you better than I will. Or now, Dalton, Gavin. People ask, I've had a PM tag me in a question about a bill and he said, hey, what's this for? And I said, I don't know. I don't do the billing anymore. Paige will get you an answer, and within 30 seconds, Paige explain exactly what it's for. We got to check that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fresh in me in one circumstance because I recently hired a gal, Nikki, doing our dispatch. She's a rock star.
Yeah.
And I held on to it for so long, being worried that who's going to answer our phones, who's going to represent our company. And she's so much better at it than I am. And
Yeah.
it was just, I was like, man, that could have happened so long ago.
Yeah. Every time I think of, there's not that's great a way to say this, but like I think of equipment, right? So remember when I bought our first excavator, I was, yeah, we'll use it for a little bit here and there. We were renting one. It makes sense. We'll buy an excavator. We'll use it for X, Y, and Z. We use the excavator for everything, right? Similar to me, like when we hired Paige, I thought, Paige was like, you're going to work half time. Like, I don't need somebody all the time in the office. I think she worked part time for maybe 2 weeks and she's been full time ever since. And like, you don't realize how much more capable they are than you when you just kind of silo them and they're gonna, that's just their job. They're responsible for it. And again, every time we take off a hat, we say it all the time, like it just gets done so much more complete by somebody focusing on it. Whereas business owners, I mean, I think we all kind of naturally have a little bit of ADD and we want to go to the next thing or look at the next shiny object or do something fun. And being able to have a team behind you that can support that and allow you to do a lot of that business development and the team development is where what's been really successful for us.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you brought up the term leadership team, which I was just talking with a gentleman a week or two. Like, how do you describe that team? What does that look like? Because it does just sound like a term that's not well defined.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things like we're actually defining that better for us.
Yeah.
Like now there's 8 people in leadership.
You're going to be doing it for me too, so thank you.
Yeah. But what we and I say, you'll notice I say we don't say I at Rivers Landscaping. It's not my company. It's not not my trucks, not Riley's thing. It's I'm just trained everyone to say we. And so everything we talk about, it just naturally says we. But we were talking in the leadership team yesterday. What is our mission? Like in that leadership team meeting, we're talking about the operations of construction or the operations of maintenance or sales. We're responsible for guiding the company forward. There's 30 plus people that are relying on us to have a paycheck every day, week. And so we're responsible for guiding the company. We need to forecast what the next year looks like. We know this year that sales our backlog is lower than it was the previous year. So what steps are we going to do? Who's going to own what to really just make sure that we get those sales and then get those production appropriately. We also, in the leadership team, we always talk about our people. It's the first thing we talk about. Who's performing well, who's not performing well? Do we need to coach up or coach out? And then what does our staff breakdown look like? Who do we want to hire? Is there, what does that hiring process look like? Leadership team right now, I mean, we're focused so heavily on just building these systems out to take a lot of the emotion and guesswork out of it. Because that's what we've all relied on is our gut feeling and our guesswork. Now we're putting some systems in place that can tell us on an even playing field, no matter who's interviewing this person, does this first person fit the Rivers culture? And do they fit, the workload that would be assigned to them rather than, man, I really liked him. He sounded really good in an interview, which I'll take credit. Like I hired plenty of people that I've impressed me in an interview. I thought they were great. And as soon as they start working, the guys come to me and they're like, what were you seeing there? What was this? And so, yeah, we're responsible for leadership team and we're responsible for guiding the company forward and building that company up. Not doing the specific revenue generating tasks, I guess.
Yeah. I just recently had Craig sit in on interviews as we were hiring a new guy, and I realized that was pretty revolutionary to not to take the weight off me, but to have a second opinion and someone whose leadership I already trust it was so invaluable.
Yeah. And that's we switched to essentially having 2 interviews probably 2 years ago. We just redefined what our interview process is. But now if somebody wants a job at Rivers Landscaping, the relevant department head will be the first one to interview them, or that department head will delegate it to somebody else. And they go through their checklist, ask the questions, and do a scorecard with them. We have an SOP if that individual only speaks Spanish. We have a translator on speed dial. So we can work through all those things, right? Then everybody who's going to work there, whether they're a second crew lead, crew leader, crew member, they have to go through 2 interviews regardless. If they are a second crew lead or a crew leader or management, their second interview will be with me, but the crew, whoever interviewed them the first time, does not tell me anything about them other than their name and their resume. So we go into it completely open-minded, and then we would circle back after that and say, what did you think about him? or her and put our notes together. But I don't want them to tell me anything about the interview beforehand because I don't want to go in there with a preconceived notion. I want to see it completely separately. And when you have 2 interviews with people, sometimes you get different answers and you can kind of evaluate things that way. You also, you know, we have a lot of systems, we have a lot of rules and structure at Rivers. Making someone go through 2 interviews as maybe a crew member where they're just used to getting hired on the job site and getting to work, shows us, can they handle our structure if we just make them go through 2 interviews. The crew members now, because we're getting to the size and we were kind of talking through things, crew members still have to go through 2 interviews, but they don't necessarily, their second interview won't necessarily be with me. It'll be somebody else in that department to just kind of judge how they are. And so, yeah, that side of thing has worked out really well. But to that point, I used to hire everybody, and having somebody else sit in to see the good or the bad, especially the person who was going to be directly in charge of them, works out 10 times better.
Yeah, it's interesting. We started a driver training within the last year, and it's got pre-hire training, and it's something we just send to them before the interview. And you'd be surprised how many people don't. That is such a filter.
Yeah.
How many people don't do that? And I'm like, all right, it's great because it saves us so much time. But it's so interesting to see when you just put a few filters in place to screen, and you cut out half, and then when you have those, whether it's a second person like you're doing, it's eye opening to some extent.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it sounds like you guys are very, systems oriented, and you've got to provide a high level of service to your clients. They're probably demanding clients. So you have to be able to trust that person behind the wheel, not just to drive, but to provide the different service things that you guys are. It's no different for us in the construction side. Like, we're working around heavy equipment. We're working on, job sites with things going over our heads. Safety, and like, can you simply just follow these rules? Like, if you can't be bothered to come to a second interview, you're not going to want to do our morning rollout and our morning stretch and flex every morning. I can tell you that much. You're not going to want to have the other structure that we have in place if you can't simply be bothered to get that second interview. Because I mean, when I got hired in construction, it was like, great, here's a shovel. What's your name? They had 2 jobs that started that way. And we're guilty of that. I've hired people right on the job site and got them right to work. But now, we have an onboarding process, and we make them go through the 2 interviews because, again, like, sometimes you usually get 2 different answers when you go through separate interviews, which is okay because you can kind of evaluate what's what. But there's simply being able to, like, can you show up when you were told to and when you were asked to, and follow direction?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I've heard people say this, but this kind of was it originally. It was, are you breathing?
Yeah.
Can you
Warm bodies?
Yes, and then you realize that works sometimes, and like, everyone starts somewhere, and then you realize, everything changes and evolves, and liabilities go up, expectations go up, and when you get so many multiple people, you realize the chaos that can ensue when there's not some sort of system. And I'm not by nature a great systems guy, but Craig, who's former military, is great.
Yeah, I mean, David's a former Marine.
Yeah,
like,
so
let's go, dude. Like, I want this.
So it's where, and I've said that. We just had a meeting a few nights ago. I was like, look, this is the bigger vision. This is how we get there. It's with these systems. Craig is much better at it than me, so like, just follow his lead, and that's the fun balance of
what we're learning with all these systems that we're putting in place. And like, that's why we're talking about it so much right now, because that's what we're doing so heavily right now. Taking advantage of this no plowing is, and it's a lot of things that we're changing, but we're learning, okay, Dalton wanted to start an employee of the month category. I'm like, that sounds great. You're going to own it. All right, so we're learning that all these new initiatives that we all really want to do, we're just assigning them to an owner. So Dalton owns the employee of the month. It was his idea. He's excited to. He's happy to be the one that owns it, but he's going to be held accountable to it. Like, hey, okay, yeah, we got busy in May. We get busy every May. Why didn't we have an employee of the month? We can't tell our guys we're going to do all these nice things and then not follow through with it. We've been guilty of that in the past. So for us, like, just finding someone, all these new things that we're owning or initiating, we just have to have ownership tied to it. And it's just so much more clarity for everybody when we can do that too.
So are you guys doing regular performance reviews and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. And we need to do better about having that consistently. I mean, one thing that we just are initiating now is simple as like Bamboo HR and just having an HR process, but having that system that's going to remind us, hey, it's time to do a interview or a performance review with John. Um, you think you don't need those things, and then you get 30 plus people, all this equipment, all of doing the actual work that makes you money. You let those, it's easy to just let those things slide. And we've been so guilty of that in the past. And so something like initiating a Bamboo HR, we knew that we want these performance reviews. We knew that we want to do things. We needed a system to hold all of us accountable to make sure we're having those. But the same thing on that org chart, like I have 4 direct reports. I'm responsible for them. I'm not responsible for the entire leadership team anymore. Aiden is responsible for his managers. Those managers are responsible for their crew leaders, and so on and so forth, because it's unrealistic for me to have 30 performance reviews. It's unrealistic for Aiden to have 20, and so on and so forth. So really just, again, kind of going back to that ownership, like you're going to own having the reviews with these employees.
Yeah, it's a process. It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's cool to hear you going through it because I'm very much going through it, and it's nice to
Just what we started saying as early as last year, like, man, the work is easy, right? In the grand scheme of things, the work for us has become very easy. Physically, maybe not, but getting the work done, like all of us in management, that's not that hard for us. It's doing it at scale and doing it so it's repeatable that we're spending a lot of time focusing on. And then how can we do it better? Like communicate better is one of the bigger rocks that we're working on this year.
yeah. It's a process. It's never ending. It's funny. Like I feel like I'm so in the middle of it, so it's so cool to hear you
Yeah.
hear your
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I love talking to other business owners.
yeah.
That's what the peer group taught me. Is get over your own ego and over yourself and just go and be open up to other people who are going through the same exact thing, roughly. Um, it's just invigorating. We haven't talked about like what skid steer I prefer. I don't want to talk about what skid steer I prefer. I really don't. I just want good service, right?
Yeah.
And in those peer groups, and when I talk to my other peers here in town, like I'm very friendly with just about everybody in town. Bring them to my shop, and we'll come and talk about, hey, what's the market look like? What does your labor look like? Don't hire this guy, or do hire this guy. And there's enough work here, even now. There's still enough work here that we're all competing against each other, but there's no reason we can't play nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I work with a lot of our, a lot of people in our industry. We call them affiliate partners because
Yeah,
we partner with stuff. I mean, similar to when you're working with guys to do some of your maintenance and stuff. And there's just times where we're maxed at capacity and we have bigger groups of people to serve. And it's to see the way we can all work together and play nice
yeah.
at a minimum is,
Well, and then the other thing is it raises the standard for the entire industry in our valley.
Yeah.
Is if company A is doing X, Y, and Z, and company B is doing something similar, then that becomes the standard. And a lot of times after like post bid, we'll compare bids and like understand like, did we miss something? Did you miss something? What does that market look like? And let's not race to the bottom of it. That doesn't help anybody, especially the client. Like if you're always underbidding jobs and you're doing the job, by the time you're in there, you realize that you're not making any money of it. You're going to provide a pretty shitty end product for that client. So when we can all get together and talk about, yeah, this is what the landscaping construction market looks like, it works. It works pretty well.
Yeah. I experience that same thing when there's more alignment on pricing. And that's the exact term I use, race to the bottom.
Yeah.
When you're trying to gain business because your price is cheaper, there's a handfuls of reasons why that's the last approach you want to take.
And ultimately, it hurts that business, but then it hurts the client in the long run.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're getting together and colluding and making the market really expensive.
Yeah.
There's outside drivers making it expensive, but just collaborating, this is what we're seeing, and making sure that the market's in line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it surprises me how many people just don't know their numbers.
Yeah.
And I've made the big flaw in the past of I'm trying to compare my pricing to other people whose operations are just so much different than me for various reasons. And I need to that's when I need to look at my numbers, and that's where my stuff needs to go from.
Yeah. And I've been guilty of not knowing my numbers.
Yeah.
Like I say, I'm sure there's a handful of jobs out there that I did way too cheap.
Yeah. I'm getting better. I'll say I'm getting better.
Learned how not to do that. But again, kind of in the taking the hats off thing, like yeah, I'm not out there planting trees or moving dirt every single day. So now I can actually focus on these are what our numbers are. This is, we do a really cool tool called a budget.
Yeah.
Having a budget in place, it just creates a whole lot more clarity and then goals, and you know what you're going to. Like, this is truly what it costs us to operate per hour.
Yeah. It's very cool. What remind me of the board you're on when you're not, wearing all the Riley hats that you don't wear anymore?
Yeah. Well, because of my team being who they are, I'm able to take off some hats, and I serve on the SWMBA, the Southwest Montana Building Industry Association board. This year, I am the president or the chairman of that board. So we have about 16 board members, but the goal, the mission of SWMBA is advocacy, networking, and education. And so SWMBA has been around since 1978. I hope I got that right. And we're building industry members. So we have realtors in there, we have bankers in there, insurance agent, yes, obviously builders. It's very builder heavy, painters, plumbers, carpenters, several landscapers. And it's a whole lot of similar to like the networking I was talking about. Just we're getting together and we're talking about industry opportunities and threats. And we also, the advocacy part, we work to hold a government accountable to what's affecting our industry. Sometimes policies and ideas get proposed that on paper sound good. We had one this last election season that sounded good, but ultimately would have been really detrimental to the housing industry and ultimately housing pricing and economy of Bozeman overall. So, we're kind of the watchdogs, I guess, to say, of the city on those things. But now we're trying to move SWMBA in a direction where we can be more of a partner with the government agencies to say that this is actually good policy that would produce housing and help the Bozeman economy and solve this never-ending problem of affordable housing. And so that's what SWMBA does. We're, as SWMBA members, are always part of Montana Building Industry Association, and then on top of that, part of the National Association of Home Builders. So when you're a SWMBA member, you get 3 memberships in one. And at the NHAB level, they're very close with the administration, the president, no matter who that president may be, and can really help on things that affect the building industry as a large. And so it's a really good organization to be involved in and be able to give back to my industry, as well as I've met a lot of good people. I've learned a lot of good things. I was the government affairs director, and I'm learning more about housing code doing that than I ever was elsewhere. But then also get to collaborate with the city on certain things like their new landscaping water policy, landscaping irrigation codes. I'm not going to take credit for those because I don't want credit for it or say that they're perfect. But helps the city along with a lot of other people make those policies. There's things of those policies I think need to be changed. I'll say that much. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's a lot of what SWMBA does is networking, the advocacy part of it, and really just trying to elevate the industry. And they have since 1978.
So is the primary focus or mission to go towards sustainable growth, affordable housing? Is there anything like that's the main center point of that focus?
For the advocacy part of it, yes, and it has been, and I think it always will be, because this affordable housing target is always a moving target, and it's just we can take a look. We can't control lumber prices, we can't control labor prices for the most part, can't control land prices. So what can we look at the city like? What does it make so much more expensive to live in Bozeman than it does in Belgrade? What can we do at the government level and say, Bozeman, this is what you guys need to change, because these codes or their design review time, things like that are just getting in the way of getting housing built. I'm not saying we need deregulation, but they do a lot of things that get in their own way. And so that's certainly one very large part of all these organizations, is what we can do to drive those forward. But because we're a large organization, we have other people focused on elevating the industry. So one thing our probably premier event every year is the SWMBA Home Expo at the Brick. This year it's in April, I believe April 18th, 19th, and 20th, somewhere in there. But that gets to showcase all of our members and who wants to participate, showcase their business. We're doing a booth there showing people what we can do, drive us some business for us. Certainly other people in there. So that's part of the networking and that aspect of Swimbia. The education part, so we have people working on all these different pillars. The education part, we worked really closely with Carl Schwartz, who'd be a great podcast guest, at the Bozeman School District on creating the trades program that they created for BSD at both high schools, where these kids are building really well built sheds essentially and learning the construction process, showing them another path that isn't college necessarily. And Carl got that program off the ground. We were able to partner with him on helping drum up some support. Kenyon Noble donated a ton of Milwaukee tools, which obviously are not cheap, and really just kind of helped Carl in his spearheading efforts, help him do some fundraising. And so that's one of the things that Swimbia we're very proud of. And on top of that, we give away multiple scholarships every year to Galton College to their trades program through our Swimbia Cares 501c3. So we don't have one singular focus because we have enough membership that we're able to focus on the advocacy, the government affairs part of things, and the networking with our meetings that we have. And then the education part of bringing those that next level of that next generation of tradespeople into the market so that we can work toward more affordable housing, right?
Yeah, it's it's good to hear about, organizations like this because it's a constant conversation and topic of just all the issues with the growth and everything going on. And I realize there's issues, but it is nice that there's people and organizations that are focusing on, positive ways forward rather than just complaining about it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, like we say, like we're looking out for affordable housing, and there's certain people that don't agree with that, but they're not in our industry and they don't know Swimbia. And it's like you realize, like, if we can make housing more affordable, it's better for the industry as a whole, right? We're not the ones who made the home prices double during COVID. I mean, that was insane. That was insane for all of us. Our materials doubled, our labor doubled. I mean, everything, the whole economic wheel of things. So again, there's only so much that we can control, but we're looking at what can we do to help, make some of these government regulations make more sense. We need code. We need, building inspections. Buildings need to be built properly and safely. But there's a plethora of things the city of Bozeman and other government agencies are doing that definitely can be looked at in a way to make housing more available.
Yeah, that's very cool. Have you been to or have you heard of Montana Festival?
I have not.
Okay. I can send you some info about it. I went for the first time last year, but it was a lot of different business owners and leaders and a couple of days of different things of guys, brainstorming and talking about the growth going on here in Montana. And I found it I had a much more positive outlook after hearing. I don't know. I was talking with someone else about this, kind of what became of it after that, but it was, there's a lot of people at least thinking in the right direction.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of angst and anxiety around like the affordable housing thing, right? And that's one part of the wheel of what makes Bozeman expensive to live in. Going to some of those events like what you just mentioned and some of what we're doing at Swimbia and some of the opposition that we had, of people on the other side of some things we were advocating for last election cycle. I just took that as like, hey, we don't agree on these things, but man, you really do care about Bozeman. That's cool to know that it's not, I'm not the only one worried about it, right? That there's multiple people from different industries and a lot of people that really care about the community that we live in that want to see it succeed. And so even though we don't always agree on things, being able to be a part of things like that, I mean, it just shows you that we got some good people in this town that are looking out and want to see it improve.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's the same overall goal and it's the approach that's where the disagreement lies.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Ultimately, we're, looking for safe and affordable places for ourselves and our family and our community to exist. And there's just a lot of conflicting ideas of how to get there.
For sure.
Seems to be where a lot of the tension is.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, very cool what you're doing. It's cool to hear about the way your business grew and evolved and continues to evolve. And
appreciate that.
What you're doing with the community. Is there anything else anyone should know about what you guys do and where to find you and anything to expect?
Yeah, I mean, we do commercial and residential landscape construction. We've definitely are looking to take on more projects this year. So we want to hear, if you want to meet our cool team and get some badass landscaping, like definitely get a hold of us. Rivers Landscaping, mt.com. There apparently is another Rivers Landscaping out there somewhere, but as well as commercial maintenance. We've got a great program that I would love to introduce people to David and have David really explain what we're doing differently that can really help these properties out. We're also hiring. We're always hiring good
Cool.
people. So if any of this sounded cool and you want to come check us out, we're a pretty cool place to work. And I can guarantee you I'm not the only one in my company saying that.
Very cool. I'm glad you said that because I aim to remember to ask if there's anything you're looking for from the community, and if you're looking for employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds you've given very compelling reasons why you guys could be a great fit for a lot of people.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say with Swimby, if you're in the trades or even trades adjacent, give Lisa in our office a call. Come to some Swimby events. There's an industry association out there that's got your back, but also can help you move forward.
Very cool. And I'll link that event in April. You said that's at the Brick, right?
Yep, the Home Expo.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds cool. I want to check it out myself.
Yeah, for sure. We should have approaching 200 vendors.
Cool. Sweet, man. I'll link everything in the description, and it's cool to have a Bobcat alumni, running a business here locally. This is like a lot of what this show's about. So appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Likewise.
Cool. Thanks, Riley.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.